Hey, what's going on, Scatterbrains? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Brilliancy. My name is Travis, and today I'm going to be doing a review for Married at First Sight Season 13, Episode 12. So, I missed last week. On Wednesday of last week, it was the season finale of Big Brother, and this has been my wife and I's first time ever watching Big Brother, and you know, for it to be the first season, we were entertained the whole time. Love the show now. And the Cookout Alliance, amazing. So we were tuning in to the live finale because we were not going to let Yahoo spoil who won the next day. So for those reasons, the Cookout came, was more important than, what's the show? Married at First Sight. And then, you know, like by Friday, I hadn't done the video yet. And I kind of feel like after a certain time, like it's pointless making a review video, you know, because I kind of feel like we all kind of forget about the show after Friday and we about on our business and moving on to the weekend. So this video honestly almost didn't get made either. And we watched it tonight, which is Wednesday. But, you know, even last week's episode and this week's episode just was very blah, you know, if I'm being honest, in my opinion. Now, you know, other people may have their opinions on how the show is going right now, but I'm not entertained with what's going on. I mean, the majority of this video is going to be about Johnny, obviously, because I don't really feel like there's much else to talk about. You know what I mean? So as far as last week, if I need to mention anything that happened last week, I will. Oops, I'm recording something. So if I need to mention anything that happened, I will, but more than likely, we're just going to skip past last week because I don't think there was anything that really happened that is affecting this week outside of Johnny. So I want to say sorry to my scatterbrains for not making the review last week. And, wrapping paper is still being sold. Of course, the link is down in the description. And yes, moving on. All right, let's see. My notes are really short this week because I did not want to do like play for play notes just because, like I said, it wasn't that interesting. So we can start with who is now my favorite couple, which is Girla. I mean, I don't think, why did I say that twice? 3 times. I don't think any of us expected that they would come around the way that they have, but I can honestly say I have really enjoyed watching Girla's interaction with each other. Watching Gil and Mirla has been great. You know, last week and this week, you know, Princess Mirla got on our nerves initially, but I think, you know, she probably still gets on our nerves now. But, you know, if it wasn't for Gilbert, you know, I don't know how I would feel about them. But right now, they're the favorite couple for me, at least. And I'm enjoying watching them. It's easy watching because that balance is amazing. Let me know if y'all think that down in the comments. But all I have for them is they're making plans for what's going to happen after decision day, going apartment hunting. Gilbert has found a couple apartments. I believe he said he found one in the building, the Latitude, I believe is what it's called, where they're staying at now. She wants everything new, and they make him say something about it. It makes me wonder, is she going to want, you know, a new husband after so long, So I feel like somebody put him up to say that, but they don't appear to have any real issues, at least that we're made aware of. I mean, it initially started off with Princess Mirla and her desire to have a specific lifestyle, but the way Gilbert has put his foot down on certain things, you know, I don't think they have any real issues right now. And in a surprising twist, Princess Mirla has came around when it comes to the dogs, and she told him that she wants a dog. Isn't that crazy? Wow. So yeah, they're the most interesting right now. I really like watching them. We can move down to Zakayla. Zakayla had a good week last week as well. I enjoyed watching them. There was no fighting. It was them being a little more mature than they had been in the past, just trying to have a little bit more understanding. And tonight I felt like was a buildup of last week. they went to go play. Oh, the main takeaway from last week is that Michaela is now saying that she loves Zach. She's not saying that she's in love with him, but she does say that she loves him. And for them, that's big because both of them have said that they've never been in love. So on this episode, they went to go do bubble ball, where you get in that big thing that looks like it's a claustrophobic person's nightmare, and you run at each other at full speed. They ask each other what's been the day that they felt the happiest. She says the move-in day when he got back after being out with COVID, and for him, it was the wedding. Later in the episode, she meets with her sister Shanae. They talk about how things are going. Not much there. They do a little bit of scrapbooking, and they hang the vows crooked on the wall. I was kind of getting sleepy at that point, so I wasn't really sure if it was crooked on purpose, but it was bothering me how crooked it was. And that's all I got for Zakayla. So like I said, things are getting better for them. We'll go to Rose because my notes are really short for them as well. They're good. Last week, Short Jose had to come to grips with the mistakes that he made the week prior when he was going off on Rachel. But he eventually took accountability last week, and he gave her the apology that she wanted. They talk about how they're experiencing a lot of firsts. And they say, what are the firsts you're looking towards? And for her first trip to Europe with a partner is what she's looking forward to. And for Short Jose, he's looking forward to a road trip in Texas. And I didn't understand that. I don't know a whole lot about Texas. And I'm not really sure as far as like where Houston is in relation to whatever it was he was talking about. But he's looking forward to going on a road trip in the same state that he lives in. So I'm just kind of like, so I guess this is what helps Short Jose, just be so on it with his budget board, is because he don't spend no money, because we can ride down the street for free. But yeah, there's that. They go to a winery later on. I sound like I'm kind of stuffy, but they go to a winery later on, reflect at where they are. I guess she's a teacher. I might have missed that as well, but she says she's hoping she doesn't get bored being at Short Jose's estate over the summer, because I guess she'll be off. And he's acting like he's concerned. And that's all I got for them too. Like, it's kind of crazy how quickly things, are going in this review. We'll go to Brett and Ryan next. Brian. The takeaway for them is that he's still not into her. And it's getting difficult to watch at this point. Ryan doesn't like Brett. It just is what it is. And the thing that sucks about this show is that they're all contractually obligated to stay married in a sense, because if they, from what I've gathered from like insider information, all of that, if they choose to get an annulment or a divorce prior to decision day, they could be held liable for like financial obligations associated with the show. I remember at one point, one of the accounts had posted like the contract that they have to sign, and it said very clearly, if you pretty much break this agreement as far as being married up until decision day, yada yada yada, you have to come up off some money. So that's the part that sucks, is people can't be fully authentic, and if they really want to make a run for the hills, they can't, because they know that they don't want to have to spend, they don't want to have to pay those thousands of dollars on top of the fact that you still want to make your coins from being on the episode. And I think that's the only thing keeping Ryan around right now. So they both end up talking to somebody. I wrote down talks to friend about what they watch. She was talking to, I don't know who it was, but last week's episode was the 1 month anniversary. So I didn't say that. And for them, she rented out, was it him that did it? I think he did it. He rented out a movie theater, and they watched the wedding back, and it did nothing for him. Like, he got nothing out of it, and she really couldn't focus on it as well, because also what happened last week, unfortunately, her dog got sick, and she had to put her dog down. So, emotionally, they've had a lot going on, and so that, along with the fact that Ryan is just not, checked in, just is making them just like a bore to watch. He being Ryan, meets up with Zach, and he talks about how he wanted this beautiful story and how it's not happening, but Zach gives him a little bit of advice that Cal gave him about not convincing yourself that it's not going to work. And then later on, Brian meets up with Rose at like an American Ninja Warrior type gym. And they do some of the activities like, run up the wall and all that kind of stuff. They didn't put Short Jose on the kiddie section, which was, it was nice. They didn't make Short Jose feel like he couldn't participate. They let him run up on the big boy stuff. But he was struggling a little bit. When you shorter, you got to get a running start and you got to kind of hop up the way he kind of hop up in bed. So he kind of had to do a little bit of that. So that was entertaining to watch. But it was crazy because the first event they did was the wall where you run up and grab it and pull yourself up and all of that. And it could have been editing. But when Brett was doing it, they showed Ryan just watching. Like, there was no encouragement. There was no good job. I mean, Rachel and Short Jose was cheering more for Ryan than was cheering more for Brett than Ryan was, the way it appeared to us. Then they do a little boys versus girls thing. And, like I said, they didn't put Short Jose on the kiddie pyramid, but he struggled trying to hop over that little pyramid. But yeah. Later, he talks to his sister, and she talks to, I think, a different friend. And his sister asks her a very interesting question because Ryan complains about how nasty Brett is as far as like how she leaves stuff out and all of that kind of stuff. And his sister asks her, she says, if Brett looked like a Victoria's Secret model, would her mess be an issue? And he said he would gladly clean the dishes. So that alone pretty much is like the nail in the coffin that outside of Ryan just not being into Brett, it's largely based on, I believe, looks. Now, I don't really know what Ryan's type is, but obviously it ain't Brett. Because I think he said he had never dated a redhead. And I just think physically she's not what he wants. He probably wants blonde hair, blue eyes. But, 1 out of 2 ain't enough for him. He says she's a good person. His dog eats her condolences flowers. And I'm looking at the dog on the table like, first of all, it's bad enough people who have cats. No offense. But who is just, I can't say allowing. But our dog knows he bet not ever climb his tail up on a table. Where they do that at? For your dog to think they can climb up on a table? On a table? Nah, not cool at all. They end up having like a conversation towards the end of the episode. Ryan is still being a punk because he's not really just speaking his mind. He would save himself a lot of trouble if he just tells Brett, I'm not into you, but he won't. So they end up sleeping separately. He makes up some excuse about needing sleep because apparently he's been sleeping on the couch. So they're all in apartments with multiple bedrooms. So she goes to the junky bedroom where most of her stuff is, and he sleeps in what is supposed to be their bedroom. At this point, it don't seem like they're gonna work, and nobody's gonna be surprised. And I'd rather Brett be cut loose of him and his shenanigans. And finally, we're gonna bring it on home. I'm really trying to figure out my allergies, y'all, have been on one over these past few days. We're gonna bring it on home with Johnny. Now, Johnny's thing last week was all the couples went out to dinner for, I guess, the 1 month, and they were talking about something, and Bao was going over all the things she does as far as she does gourmet meals, she meal preps, and the whole time she's talking last week, Johnny's looks these past 2 weeks are just that of, I can't put my finger on what I would describe those looks as, but if looks could kill, Bao would be 6 feet under the way he's looking. And Johnny has gotten on my nerves for the past 2 weeks. And I know I'm not alone when I say that. Like, Johnny is on the 1, 2, and 3. He's been getting on my nerves so bad. But he wants to be romance. He's tired of her giddiness. He's tired of her happy, joy. And it's just like, we sum it up later in the episode, but prior to that, I'm just like, what? Johnny wants something that's unrealistic, that's unattainable, because from what we can see, Bao seems like she's a decent girl. Like, she seems like she's trying. She seems like she's kind of into you. Like, it's like he wants to be chased. He wants to be courted. He wants somebody to take him out, rub his feet, do this for him, do that for him. And it's just like, sir, that's not how this works. That's why. And you, We look at these people and wonder why they've been single for so long, and we get all the answers during these seasons about why you don't have anybody, why you're not married. It's because you screw it up in the head with how you think a relationship is supposed to work. But let's just skip to stuff that actually matters. So I wrote down a lot for them because he said a lot of stuff that I deemed to be a little bit disrespectful. He talked about how he doesn't feel like she's doing enough, her level of effort. And she says she feels like she's putting in 100%. He feels like that's equivalent to his 150%. Like he feels like he's doing more for the marriage than she is. And I think that's unfair to try to put a numeric value on someone's effort, especially when they're a stranger and y'all are still trying to get to know each other. You know, Johnny just was getting on my nerves this episode. So he says she's not consistent. He thinks she has an image to protect as far as like when she's telling us or when she was telling the group about all the things that she's doing. So he leaves at one point and just leaves her standing there looking like a lost puppy, and he stays at his place. So he comes back the next day because I don't know if he came back the next day, but the next day there was supposed to be his family barbecue, and the plan was for both of them to go. She had been learning all the family members' names in Mandarin, which is the native tongue. So she was trying to be prepared for, seeing his family again, and she meal prepped for that week. And then he called her and told her, don't come. Oh, such a bad move because she was hot like fire, and she should have been. So she's going off on the camera. He says at some point to one of his family members that he wants a high school romance feeling, and if this doesn't change, he's not interested. And I'm just like, Johnny, you are 35. You are a couple years older than me, not even that much. And I'm like, you want a high school romance? High school romance was fun because we were immature, because we were stupid, because we didn't know nothing about anything. You are not going to get a high school, in my opinion, you're not going to get a high school romance feeling at 35. Like, he truly has unrealistic expectations for what a relationship, let alone a marriage, is supposed to even be like or feel like. And people watch TV and movies and they get these ideas about how it should feel, and it's just not real for most people. That's just not how life is. My notes started getting a little iffy. Things communicates more I learn, the less. So he said the more he learns about her, the less he likes. He wants daily romance. He's not settling for her. He can't see her as his wife. And so they eventually meet Pastor Cal later. And Johnny still just has this blank stare, just like, I don't want to squint my eyes because that might be like offensive, and it's not intended to be. Pastor Cal's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Is it somebody else? He says no. He's just saying she's not genuine. What she presents to the public, it's just not true. So then Bao comes back with, well, I have done this, and this. And Pastor Cal's like, well, is that true? And Johnny doesn't even answer the question. He just continues to go on about how, how she's just not being honest. And so, Pastor Cal tells him that he's not being fair. And I think I might have said this out of order, but, asked about it, was it someone else? But he was reading him like a book, and he deserved it. There's points where he feels he should have been matched with literally anyone else. And he's saying all this out loud. So on one end, it's good that he's being honest. But on the other end, it's like, out of everything to say, sir, that's the wrong thing to say, because it is so disrespectful to act like you have been so perfect in this relationship and Bao has all this stuff to work on. And that's just not the case. And his main problem is he's comparing her to the ideal version of what he thinks his partner or his wife is supposed to be. And Pastor Cal has to tell him that doesn't exist. That's unfair. You need to kill that girl. Give her a funeral, her being the ideal woman. She doesn't exist. So kill her, and maybe things will get better. And they commit to working on things, but then later on in the episode, it's almost like that conversation never happened because they still haven't issues. Johnny still not being forthcoming with how he's feeling. Same blank stare. And it's just like, it's becoming too much to watch Johnny on the show. Like Johnny is the one that I'd like the least as far as people, period, on the show, you know. So that's where I am right now with episode 12, I believe. I know a lot happened, but all the minor things, it wasn't worth going over. So y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all thought about this episode. I appreciate all the support that y'all have given me as far as watching, commenting, checking on me, sharing, all of that kind of stuff. I appreciate all the scatterbrains who have purchased my wrapping paper. I really appreciate it. I thank y'all so much. Make sure y'all rate, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and all of that good stuff. Y'all are getting this review as quickly as I can with minimum editing. And what else? That's all I got. So thank y'all again, Scatterbrains, and I'll be seeing y'all soon. Peace.